Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Monday. Hope you had a terrific weekend. I hope and I believe we're going to get your week started off fantastically here on today's show. We have some great things to discuss. We're going to start outside the sports lane, and then we're going to zag into the sports lane. But I want to start with the Oscars, and somehow I'm going to wrap last night's Oscars into a topic that also has Andrew Tate in the topic. And so we're going to start there with the Oscars and Andrew Tate. We're going to start with Anora, Andrew Tate, and nihilism. We're going to start there. And then Steve Kim will join us, and we'll move into some sports topics. JuJu Watkins is on pace to be the next Caitlin Clark. She kicked off her campaign, I believe, yesterday, knocking off UCLA for the second time. A lot of stars, a lot of celebrities in attendance at the game. She keeps this going and makes it to the Final Four. Women's basketball is only going to get stronger. We'll talk about that. There was a fight this weekend, Lamont Roach versus Tank Davis, Gervonta Davis, Tank Davis. Tank Davis took a knee, won a controversial decision. We'll talk about that with Steve Kim. Riley Gaines, somehow her saying a prayer at a NASCAR event and including Donald Trump and his administration in her prayer, somehow that's controversial. Praying for the president is now controversial. And Pete Rose, I'm going to ask Steve Kim about Donald Trump, and there seems to be a movement to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame now that he's dead. There seems to be a movement to pardon Pete Rose for any of his crimes. All this stuff, all this post-death stuff, I don't get it. We'll see what Steve Kim thinks. So stay tuned for all of that. It's going to be a terrific show. You got to bear with me, though, as I talk a little. You guys know I love to talk movies. You know I love to talk about culture stuff. We're going to start there. Before I do any of that, let me make sure that I tell you guys about part of my process. And I done told you what I've been doing eating-wise and exercise-wise and what I'm doing for pain relief and things like that. The other big part of this process is this Lumen device that I've had for more than a year, and I keep testing my metabolism, getting advice, getting insight on what am I burning, carbs or fats, when am I burning carbs and fats, how my workout affects my metabolism. Lumen is helping me address my weight problems and be more strategic about how I approach my weight loss and my exercise and my eating. Did you know that when your metabolism is working properly, you will feel the benefits in literally every aspect of your life? I have found a valuable tool that gives me insights to create a healthy metabolism for my body. It's called Lumen. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, even stress management. All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or mostly carbs. Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. You can also breathe into it before and after workouts and meals so you know exactly what's going on in your body in real time. And Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your health game. You can also track your cycle as well as the onset of menopause and adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism healthy through hormonal shifts so you can keep up your energy and stave off cravings. Take the next step. I'm telling you that this got a great endorsement from me. Take the next step on improving your health. Go to lumen.me/fearless to get 20% off your Lumen. That's Lumen, L-U-M, M as in Mary, E as in Edward, N as in Nancy, .me/fearless for 20% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for all you're doing for me. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Appreciate it. Now, let's get into it. Last night, some movie, Anora, that had been popping up on my Amazon Prime. It had been popping up. What's this Anora about? What's this Anora about? And then last night I hear that I didn't watch the Oscars, but I heard and I saw on social media that Anora won the Oscar, Best Picture. And I was like, okay, it's 2 a.m. You know, I just woke up unexpectedly. Let's watch the movie Anora. Let's see what it's all about. And holy cow, was I sitting there like, are you kidding me? This is a porno. And I'm telling you, that's what went through my mind, particularly during the first hour, 45 minutes to an hour of this movie. It's like, this is a porno. It starts with a scene of just a line of strippers in G-strings. They're topless in G-strings, and they appear to be in some sort of champagne room giving out lap dances. And they're leaving hardly anything to the imagination. This is the first scene of the movie. It's just a long line until they finally get to Anora, who calls herself Annie, and she's giving someone a lap dance. And it's about, the movie's about a sex worker that marries some 21-year-old child that's a son of a Russian oligarch. And they get married after he pays her for sex and spends a week with her. I think he spends $15,000 for her to spend the week with him. And I'm watching this movie in the first hour, and I'm like, how did a porno win the Oscar for Best Movie? How does it move? Particularly in the first hour, I'm watching, I'm going, this has no plot. This has no character development. None of these people, from Ani to, I think the little Russian kid's name was Vanya, neither one of them likable. They're drugged up, vaping, smoking weed, doing coke, drinking the entire, and when they're not having sex. In the first 45 minutes to an hour of that movie, he must have banged her 8 times. And they showed all 8 of them. And again, I'll have to go back. Maybe it was only 6, but it felt like 8. And it's just like, how much sex can they pour into a movie? And I'm like, this is the best we have? This is American art? This is American cinema? This is the best movie in the world? No plot. Well, the plot, I guess, is kind of self-explanatory. A stripper / hooker parties with a 21-year-old Russian oligarch's son. Did I get that right? A 21-year-old Russian oligarch's son. Yes, parties with and has sex with. That's the gist of the movie. Eventually, the Russian oligarch's parents find out. And they fly over from Russia to make sure the son gets the marriage annulled, and then they drag him back to Russia. And I'm telling you, I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know who Annie, who her parents are, what her backstory, how she ended up a stripper, how she ended up a hooker. They don't explain any of that. They don't really explain why the 21-year-old, what was his purpose? Why was he in America? He's not an American citizen. He wasn't there studying school. They didn't give us any backstory. This movie was a strip club story. And what I mean by that is, if you're someone that was as ignorant and as retarded as I was, that spent time in a strip club, it's the kind of story a bouncer at a strip club would tell amongst his friends and amongst the regular customers. Oh man, did you hear about Destiny? Yeah, she ran off with this Russian dude and blah, blah, blah. You'd hear these stories. You hear these stories all the time. There's a very, very prominent boxer that occasionally came to Kansas City. Very, very prominent, you know, really, really, really prominent boxer. Used to come to Kansas City. And why? Oh, I can't remember her name, but she was a beautiful stripper at Diamond Joe's. And he came in, Diamond Joe, this is in Kansas City, back in my day. And he came in to the club, and why can't I remember her name? Oh, she was so beautiful. But anyway, he ran off with her for a couple of days. He came in, spotted her, took her out to LA or back to Vegas with him, and then sent her back home. And people used to tell that story all the time. Wish I could remember her strip club name. We'll call her Lexus. Her name wasn't Lexus, but I can't remember. But anyway, he ran off with Lexus for 2 or 3 days, then sent her back. And they used to tell that story at, oh, you remember them 3 days, so-and-so ran off with the boxer. Let's call the boxer Floyd. Remember when she ran off with Floyd Mayweather? Let's call him Floyd Mayweather. And that's what this movie was. And so it was some bouncer that would retell a story. And I'm telling you, I guarantee you they saw this movie, whoever the director, Sean Baker, this guy won 4 Academy Awards last night. He won 4 Oscars. This guy, he either broke or tied Walt Disney's record for most Oscar wins in a night, this individual. It's not the most decorated movie, but the 4 Oscars that this movie did win is one more than The Godfather won. The Godfather, arguably the greatest movie of all time. It only won 3 Oscars. This porno with no plot, no character development, no understanding of anyone's motivations, it won 4 Oscars. It beat The Godfather. I'm sitting there, when I watch this, my mind is blown. It's like, how did we get here? Because this is a reflection of how degenerate and how despicable our culture is. We don't make movies anymore. Not ones that have some sort of moral arc, some sort of meaning behind them. This felt like outtakes or raw footage of a documentary. And so we have prioritized how much authenticity can we put into a movie. We're not gonna put plot in a movie. We're just gonna put authenticity. And let's make sure we're showing the underbelly of America. Let's make sure we're showing the gritty, the dirtiest, the slimiest. How because some of you are sitting there going, Jason, The Wire, your favorite TV show. It showed the underbelly of America. It was about drug dealers that owned a strip club. It was about corrupt politicians. You like all this gritty stuff. The Wire, and it's a TV show, a serialized TV show, but it had a point of view. It was trying to tell you something about America. It had a moral arc. There were good guys and bad guys. It was based on themes that used to be in all movies, in all cinema, in all TV shows. There was some sort of biblical theme, good guy versus bad guy. And there was these values, if you followed, where that person would win. Now movies have gone the completely other direction. There is no moral arc. There is no moral to the story. There's just raw footage. And the more raw footage that we show, the more nihilism that is platformed and shoved down our throats, we consider that greatness. And it's been going on for a long time. Let me look up, and this isn't the beginning of it, but I'll never forget when 12 Years a Slave won the Oscars. 2013. It was a 2013 film, probably won the Oscars in 2014. 2013 film. When 12 Years a Slave, this story about some slave during, the 1800s, And I was like, you're kidding me. This won the Oscar? The entire time you watched 12 Years a Slave, you just had this look on your face like, there was no love. This slave was taken, he was a free black man. He was taken from his family. They never showed his wife and kids and what life was like for them without him. Once he was taken from them and thrown into slavery down in the South, they didn't show him longing for his wife, thinking, fantasizing about his wife, talking to anybody about his wife and what he left behind. All they showed you was a series of brutality scenes in 12 Years a Slave. And people fell for this. Yeah, let's shove it down their face how brutal slavery is. This is a real, I saw Bill Maher call 12 Years a Slave, oh, it's so much better than Roots. Roots was the television series in the 1970s that really exposed the degradation of slavery. But it also was a hopeful story with a moral arc to it, with a story about Kunta Kinte and his identity and his never give up spirit, his hope for a better day, and how that powered his seed, his family, and made them, once freedom came, made them prepared for it and made them great American citizens. And Bill Maher was like, no, this 12-year slave, it's better. Because it showed just how brutal things were. And the entire movie was just a series of tragedies that happened to this guy. And I complained, I was like, how's this winning the Oscars? Why did they remove love from this movie? The power of love. That love keeps hope alive. That's how you survive what allegedly this slave survived. Hope, love. Stripped from the movie. And I was like, this is crazy. And so here we are now 12 years later, and they're still rewarding this type of garbage, this type of nihilistic garbage. That's what this movie was. And you can sit here, the Oscars last night, the Academy Awards last night, most of the politics were removed. They weren't given a bunch of political speeches on stage. There was very little mention of Donald Trump. Nothing offensive happened. It was so boring that last night on X, a clip of Robert De Niro from 2018 saying F Trump was trending, and people were pretending like he said this at the Tony Awards, and people were pretending like he said it at the Oscars. That's how boring this was. But oh my goodness, did they have a message with the awards that they were giving and the movies that they were celebrating. It was a movie about transgenderism that I think had something to do with the Catholic faith. There was, maybe it was nominated for like 13 Academy Awards. But this movie was the big winner last night, and it was a porno. And that says something about all of us, that our society has degraded so much that on the biggest night in cinema and allegedly art, a porno was given the Academy Award for Best Picture, and the woman, Mikey Madison, that's a woman, she played the sex worker / stripper. She won Best Actress. And when she won Best Actress, she thanked sex workers. Let's play the clip.
I also just want to again recognize and honor the sex worker community. I will continue to support and be an ally. All of the incredible people, the women that I've had the privilege of meeting from that community has been one of the highlights of this entire incredible experience.
I'm not some raging prude. If you've listened to this show, if you've listened to the stories I've shared on this show about myself, if you've listened to me say who some of my friends have been, and I still consider them friends, but again, I'm not running away from who I am. I'm not running away from Christian forgiveness. I'm not running away from the reality of my own life. But we're thanking sex workers. We're celebrating sex workers. We're no longer trying to guide them a better direction. We're normalizing sex workers. We're normalizing out and out porn becoming the best picture in America. This is insanity, but it's a nihilism that's everywhere in America. And now I'm going to pivot and tell you how all of this connects to Andrew Tate, a sex worker, a manager for sex workers, who somehow has a prestigious position in American culture and global culture. And Andrew Tate is now here in America, about to go on a press tour. It starts today. And so we can wag our finger at Hollywood and leftists. But Andrew Tate holds a prominent position in the conservative manosphere. Give me a second. I'm going to walk you through exactly who Andrew Tate is. We started this conversation last week. It continues today. But Andrew Tate's going to do one of his first big interviews later today. Before I do that, I want to talk to you guys about what I've been eating at my house, part of my new routine. I want to thank the people at Omaha Steaks. They sent me the ultimate hookup. Holy cow, their steaks are amazing. Their comfort foods are amazing. It has exceptional handcrafted flavor. The convenience of Omaha Steaks, shipped directly to your door. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef has more marbling for exceptional flavor and is the choice of steakhouses and professional chefs around the world. The fan-favorite filet mignon, which I've had several times, has earned the coveted distinction of USDA certified tender. 5 generations of uncompromising quality backed by an unconditional 100% money-back guarantee. Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917. A family-owned company with more than 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. They also carry mouth-watering burgers, had them, chicken, had it, pork, had it, seafood, had it, dessert, and easy-to-prepare comfort food. Don't miss the semi-annual sale at Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide. And for an extra $30 off, use the promo code FEARLESS at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with the promo code FEARLESS at checkout. It's part of my routine. Love Omaha Steaks. When you're only eating one meal a day, you want to eat really, really good. And that's what I've been doing with Omaha Steaks. Thank you, guys. I want to go back to Andrew Tate, who will later today be sitting down with Patrick Bet-David, a conservative influencer. And this is why this nihilism that's being mainstream, this sex worker pornography that's being mainstream. And I'm as I told you all last week, I'm baffled how we got here to where Andrew Tate is a coveted podcast guest, is a coveted influencer. People want to be next to Andrew Tate. People want to be associated with Andrew Tate. All in the mainstream, all out in public. I cannot wait to watch the Patrick Bet-David, Andrew Tate interview because I want to see how this goes down. We've seen Andrew Tate interviewed by American podcasters and journalists before. It's been a tiny bit disappointing for me. I'm wondering if I'm going to be disappointed again today, but I just want to remind you, I want to play you some highlights, some best of clips from Andrew Tate. And as I've told you, again, I don't want to distance myself from, I know people like Andrew Tate. I've been friends with people like Andrew Tate. That's why I can recognize exactly what Andrew Tate is. He's not some conservative influencer promoting the patriarchy and the manosphere. He's a pimp trying to avoid the consequences of being a pimp. You can listen to him out of his own mouth. He tells you exactly who he is. Let's start with Andrew Tate on how he took a nothing girl into a cash cow.
And I became a multi-millionaire. I did this by creating a webcam studio, by taking girls who didn't know how to be effective on webcam, girls who had never done webcam before, girls who didn't have the equipment, didn't have the know-how, didn't have the will, didn't have the premises, didn't have the ability to make money with this exchange. I created a system that allowed me to convince girls to do this, allowed me to retain 100% control of their income, allowed me to make sure they were effective, because it's a super competitive industry. Don't think this is easy money. You're just going to put a girl on the camera and they're going to get rich straight away. No, it's very competitive and it's very difficult. I learned every tip and trick it takes to make sure a girl gets paid. I know how to make sure the girl can't run away, because once you teach a girl how to do this, she has the ability to make unlimited money from home. Why would she still give it to you? Why does she just run off and keep it all for herself? Why are you getting your percentage? I learned how to do everything to take a nobody and make her a somebody. I learned how to take a nothing, turn her into a cash cow. And betas from all across the world would be sending money into my bank account. This is what webcamming is.
That's Andrew Tate. And somehow he's a respected member of the conservative influencer community. I'm baffled by it, but I'm really not. Because when we talk about the uniparty, and people love to talk about the uniparty, Republicans and Democrats working together, they don't apply the uniparty to this sexual nihilism, this sexual perversion cult that we have going on in America. You can see it in Hollywood, and we can all wag our finger at it. Oh, look, they gave a porno Best Picture. There go the bad guy. It's the leftists. It's the Hollywood elite. It's also us. Because Mikey Madison just won Best Actress for playing a whore, a hooker, an escort. And Andrew Tate for the past 10 years, and certainly in the last 5 since he got into trouble, he's been the best actor in social media, pretending like he's not a pimp and trying to use, I'm the leader of the red pill movement. I'm telling young men how to be men. They're trying to persecute me because of what I stand for men and how I'm against the matriarchy. That's how they're trying to persecute. No, Andrew, you're being persecuted because you ran your mouth all over social media because you're a goofy. Because, again, when I'm telling you, I can recognize Andrew Tate because I've seen it before, and the guys that I know in Andrew Tate's line of work would have no respect for Andrew Tate. What are you doing all over the internet promoting your sexual depravity, promoting your illegal line of work? And what are we doing as conservatives helping this man sell his lies? Are we part of some sexual uniparty? I want to play you, just so we're crystal clear, I just want you to hear stuff out of Andrew Tate's own mouth. This is Andrew Tate on militant pimping.
I built my business off the back of my d. That's how I built it. That's how I got rich. So I became militant with the pimping. And my bottom bitch understood it. And she understood that perfectly. So that is the recruitment structure, and that is extremely important. I hope you understand why you have to have sex with a girl, otherwise she is going to leave. What you don't want to do is get a bunch of girls, teach them how to make money from home, and then them leave you and run off and make money for themselves. And then you check their Instagrams and they're having a great life and rich and you have nothing. You don't want to do that. So you have to f*** a girl. If you're not f***ing a girl, she is f***ing someone else. And that other person she's f***ing is going to have the control over her mind as opposed to you. And if he controls her mind and you don't control her mind, once she starts to pick it up a bit after a few weeks, a few months, whatever, and realizes how to make money on her own, is she going to stay and keep paying you, or is she going to run off and pay her boyfriend, or them two are going to go traveling in Southeast Asia and she's going to work as she goes, or she's going to go to her boyfriend and say, look, you type for me. She's going to run off. She's going to leave. There's no way, I did this business for a long time. There's no such thing as having girls who work for you who you've not. It's impossible. You have to and they have to love you. It's essential to the business, because otherwise women have no loyalty.
I sit here and wonder why I drifted off into the debauchery and depravity that I did. And I try to, maybe I'm lying to myself, trying to justify the way that I used to be. But I think, like, the reason why at 2 a.m. I was like, let me watch this movie, because I know my audience isn't prone to watch this movie. Let me watch this movie. And I sit there and say, I'm going to watch it so you don't have to. And perhaps in me trying to put a positive spin on how retarded I used to be, perhaps I ran off and did all that things that are affront to God so that I could tell you about these things and you won't have to make those mistakes. And again, I know that's a rationalization. I know it's not true, but it's what I tell myself so I can sleep at night, or so I could understand myself, or so I could just try to have comfort with just all the things that I know and have seen. And so the reason why I hear Andrew Tate say these things, I've seen this with my own eyes. I know men that operate that way. And that's how I can, this whole little, oh no, I'm not some pimp, blah, blah. No, man, you talk and you act and you've exposed yourself as a pimp. There's no mystery here. This guy is not some part, if he is part of a red pill movement, he's part of a psyop. He's part of trying to normalize this whole thing. Trying to mainstream this whole thing. Andrew Tate is not on my team. He's probably not on your team. At least I hope not. He's trying to save his own rear end. And he's using other people to save his own rear end. And perhaps they're trying to save maybe they've been in business with Andrew Tate. Maybe they have friendships and relationships, and this is all part of the clickbait society that you all have to be in. And because I sit there and wonder, and I hate to say this because it won't be understood, but I'm looking at people that have built massive audiences on social media, on YouTube and other places, who are helping Andrew Tate sell these lies. And I look at myself and say, I've been looking for what they see in Andrew Tate, and I can't find it. And so I'm not going to help, I'm not going to defend Andrew and Tristan Tate. And I go, oh, that's why my reach is perhaps limited. Because I can tell you this, when I was promoting sexual debauchery, when I was a participant in sexual debauchery, when I used to write columns about, you guys remember, some of you that have followed me for a long time, pussy galore. And I was out promoting and bragging about what a debaucherous life I lived. My reach was in no way limited. My reach was massive and promoted. As soon as I started saying, you know what, that stuff I was doing was silly and stupid, it took me away from holiness, it took me away from the things that actually benefit me and glorify God, my reach started getting limited. And so when we talk about, they got this Epstein Island deal and Diddy deal, and it's like, hey, in order to be in good standing in the zeitgeist and to have you have to participate, you have to be sexually compromised. Maybe on the other side of that is you have to in some way promote the sexual debauchery, promote immorality. That's why Andrew Tate is now, he's anti-marriage. God's covenant for man and woman. He's anti that. Massive audience. And people helping sell Andrew Tate, legitimize him. Many of them are, hey, they're anti-porn. How can you be anti-porn and sympathetic to the pornographer, to the pimp? You can't do it. We have a uniparty as it relates to sexual depravity. And I'm going to play one more clip. I just don't want you to think this is who Andrew Tate is out of his own mouth. This is the person that is going on a press tour. And Andrew, I would love for you to stop by Nashville and have a conversation with me. You're allegedly pretty fearless. You claim the truth is on your side. When you go on this very friendly press tour that you're about to go on, stop by here and answer some real questions. Talk to someone who actually knows what a pimp looks like, knows what a pimp sounds like, knows how a pimp operates. The stuff everybody else, and maybe these guys will all be pretending like they don't know. But I know very clearly what you look and sound like and how you act and how you behave and what you've said publicly. I know exactly what it means. Stop by Nashville. Would love to talk to you. You're allegedly pretty fearless. You beat people up. You're, this great kickboxer. You're the smartest guy in the room. You're the head of the manosphere. Trust me, I don't bite. I don't, But let me play one more clip. Here's Andrew Tate, a montage on beating women and basic moves of pimping. Let's play the clip.
You know what they didn't teach you in self-defense? Here's a little move. When I grab you by your neck and you start annoying me trying to resist, and I just, and then I grab you by your neck again. Then what the are you gonna do when your face is collapsed and your cheekbone's broken? You ain't gonna do shit but cry.
I guarantee I changed the way you look at sex forever. You're gonna be crying. I won't cry. I bet you cry, bitch. I bet you cry. You're saying I wouldn't cry. You're challenging me to a fight. You're saying I can't hurt you. You're out of your mind? I don't even have to you. Forget the sex part. That's a distraction. My can stay in my pants. I'll just start beating the shit out of you. How about that? We walk in the bedroom. I start kicking your ass. No sex. No sex involved. But you cry then.
I perfected this in pimp school. When I got my PhD, we had to practice if a girl comes at you, you cheated, you're cheating. It's bang out the machete, boom in her face, and then grip her up by the neck. Like, shut up, bitch! Her panties get wet. The machete's on the floor, her panties are all wet. You go, f her. That's how it goes. Slap, slap, grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex. These are the basic moves of pimping.
So, I'm telling you, I watched Anora and I was offended and was like, holy cow, look at American society. look at these crazy leftists. They sex workers, they're out there cheering. Oh boy, I mean, if you watch this Mikey Madison and what she has to do on camera, and they gave her Best Actress for it. I had never heard of Mikey Madison until last night and then watching this movie. And, you know, she did play the role of a moderately borderline attractive stripper who's a sex worker. I played that well. But Best Actress, that's the best we got? And so I was offended by the movie. But on the other side, I'm offended by this press tour that Andrew Tate's about to go on in conservative media. I mean, he's fled Romania to come over here to America where he's expecting a relatively warm reception, and he's hoping that he will not be extradited back to Romania. He's about to set up camp here. And he has to be a plant. That's the only explanation. He has to be installed. Because no one should care about Andrew Tate. He should not have the level of popularity that he has. He's not, I mean, I guess he's the new Hugh Hefner. Because Hugh Hefner was a pimp. But he wasn't mainstream. He wasn't paraded around as if Hugh Hefner had something important to say. We've all been pretending like Andrew Tate has something important to say. I don't understand it. And I know I'm making a mistake by talking about this as it relates to popularity of this show, popularity of me in the conservative media space. This is a mistake, but I can't, and again, it's not because I'm some great guy, but I just can't tell these lies. It's just the way that I am. I can't tell these lies. I can't pretend like it's not happening. I can't hear that some sex worker movie wins the best picture and sit up here and just scold the left and sit up here and wag a finger at the left without acknowledging at the exact same time many people on the right are doing a different version of the Academy Awards. We're pretending like there is some legitimacy, some righteousness to Andrew Tate, and there is none. He's another tool promoting nihilism. No different than Hollywood. All right, I had to get that off my chest. It's a perfect segue to tell you all, if you're looking for advice, if you're looking to fellowship with men who are trying to live righteously, trying to live in a holy fashion, I invite you to Roll Call 3.0. It's going to be magnificent. And this year, we have events where it's appropriate to bring your wife or significant other. Friday night, we have a VIP event. Perfect to bring your wife, show her off, show her a good time. Tucker Carlson, we got great country music. We got comedian Steve Byrne. We're going to have a great time Friday night. Saturday during the day, we're going to inspire you, encourage you, and give you the advice you need to live more righteously in a world that's clearly going the other direction. Saturday night, bring your lady back out. We got a post-roll call party for you. Go to fearlessrollcall.com right now. Tickets are just $100 for the all-day Saturday event, and we got the VIP events listed there as well. Tucker Carlson will be here with me on that weekend. We got some other great guests, VIPs, great events going on. fearlessrollcall.com, May 2nd, May 3rd, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Number 3 is going to be bigger and better than 1 and 2 combined. Can't wait to get you here. Don't go anywhere. My man Steve Kim. Next. I am Jason Whitlock, your host.
Went without so that he could give you an abundant life. Now it's time for you to evade the ego trip so that someone else can live better. Amen.
It's necessary that we decide to become men of character, of godly intent.
He gives power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increases strength. Even you shall faint and be weary. Young men shall utterly fall. Jason, I know you called it to preach off, but I feel like preaching up in here right about now.
모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps and I see that you are 배불러 So
All right, welcome back. Time for some Korean co-sell. Steve Kim, your favorite part of the show, and mine. Steve, I'm going to warm you up by making you talk about JuJu Watkins. There was a big game in Southern California yesterday. JuJu Watkins taking women's basketball by storm. All kinds of celebrities at the game. I think UCLA is either ranked 2 or 3, and I think UCLA is ranked 3, and maybe USC was ranked number 4 in the country. JuJu and USC win in a blowout or relatively comfortably. They're going to win the Big Ten. I think Jaden Daniels was at the game. Myles Garrett was at the game. Leslie Jones at the game. John Legend at the game. Cheryl Miller, Reggie Miller, Candace Parker, J.J. Redick, Jason Sudeikis, Steve Kim. How are you not in the house last night for this incredible moment? And on a more serious note, I'm telling you, JuJu's on track to be nearly as big a deal as Caitlin Clark. We're going to actually have a Larry Bird, Magic Johnson situation in women's basketball.
Jeez. Oh,
what?
Gee. We're starting off with the. Now, first of all, wasn't the game on a Saturday?
Yeah,
right?
I'm saying it last night. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so because I'll tell you how I know why. And the reason why I wasn't at Pauley Pavilion, the basketball dojo of Westwood, is I was watching the fight, the pay-per-view fight. And for all those celebrities, they missed a good main event from the Barclays Center. Okay, and so I'm at Coach JB's house. We're watching it. We actually did a post-fight stream. He, on one of his TV screens, he switched over, and I didn't watch, but I glanced at the screen, and the Lady Trojans, okay, I'm just being honest here, the Lady Trojans were stomping on the Lady Bruins, and I said to myself, we're going to talk about this Monday on Fearless. I just know it. I just know it, and it came true. Now, okay, I guess
look at that crowd. Look at that crowd, Steve. Look at that crowd. Oh, put the crowd back up. It was incredible.
Hold on, that's not a B-roll shot. That's not a B-roll shot of the Ed O'Bannon years. Really? Huh.
No.
I'm stunned. I am stunned.
That's, yeah. All right, now
okay,
go. I'm sorry.
But I did.
Go ahead.
I did have an excuse. I have to, by trade, or one of my jobs, is still to watch professional prize fighting. Now, with that being said, for the LA metropolitan area, putting aside that it's a rivalry, to get that type of crowd, I will give the ladies and JuJu Watkins credit. The crowd is what it is. Tip of the cap.
So, Steve, let me ask you, are you starting to see what I'm seeing in terms of JuJu's going to be a big deal? And she's just a sophomore. This team has a chance to make it to the Final Four. Look at this young lady. And I'm not saying this in any sort of sexual way, it's just a child. But that's an attractive young lady, easy to look at on the basketball court. She's not all tatted up. She looks feminine. Same deal as Caitlin Clark. This JuJu versus Caitlin thing has a lot of potential, Steve. You got to see that.
I think, okay, I still live in LA, for better or worse. Now, is there great buzz over this? Jason, this is not a knock at you. I believe that you have more excitement and you're doing more to hype this up than any media member in LA. When I drive around the city and I still have a radio that I listen to, it's either 570 AM or 710 ESPN. The last month, I have not heard anything. And when it comes to basketball buzz in our fine city of the City of Angels, I hate to say it as a Laker fan in recess, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, JJ Redick, they are dominating the local headlines. That's the truth, Jason. The Lakers are coming on. Look out for them.
Okay. Not going to disagree with that. But Steve, here's what I think our disconnect is my gift is seeing what's going to happen. I think your gift is evaluating what happened. And that's where, again, I'm telling you, this thing is on track because college basketball doesn't have any momentum until March Madness. And I'm seeing the seeds being planted. And I'm seeing like, oh my God, this thing is going to develop quicker than I thought. I thought it would be next year before JuJu became a big deal. But if she takes this team to the Final Four, we're going to be right here at the 1st of April. And it's like, holy cow, look at this.
Whitlock Stradamus, if the Lady Trojans make a run to the Final Four, I will grant you this. There will be growing momentum, and it will be a story. But what I would like to see, and we got to see the data, that was a very large, sizable crowd on Saturday. What are the non-UCLA USC games doing for the Lady Trojans? That's what I want to see. Rivalry games, even in this city, still matter. Here's the difference, and you know this. Every game, no matter who it was against, for the Iowa Hawkeyes, it could be a Tuesday night against Rutgers. That thing would be a big story, to be the hottest ticket in Iowa City. Do you really think that's the case in LA for JuJu Watkins right now?
Not yet. Not yet.
Steve,
you love music. Hold on. You love music. You love music.
Some music.
You love
I like
music.
some music. I like some music.
Well, you like Anita Baker. And so there was a time. There's a time that Anita Baker wasn't Anita Baker, but someone heard her singing in a local club and was like, man, she's going to be something one day. And I can remember, this happened to me in real time. I lived in Rock Hill, South Carolina, back before Hootie and the Blowfish were a big deal. And they would come through Rock Hill and they would play this club called The Money in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And anybody that saw Hootie and the Blowfish play at The Money was like, man, one day they're going to be a big deal. And the next thing you know, Crack Rearview Mirror came out and they became the biggest deal in the world. That's what I'm saying. It's like she's playing the local club circuit. They call it the Chitlin circuit right now. And everybody can see like, oh, she might be the next Whitney Houston. She might be the next Anita Baker. She might be the next Darius Rucker and Hootie and the Blowfish.
I will grant you
Got
this.
nothing for her.
Her look and her overall game. Now let's talk about her game. It's actually skillful and it's based on putting the ball in the hoop. No disrespect to Angel Reese, but she's a blue-collar Joakim Noah type, right? She gets a lot of rebounds. She has a grimy game, but it's not an elegant type of thing to look at. Aesthetically, it's not pleasing. Watkins, from what I've seen, is a much more natural and better foil to Caitlin Clark. I will give her that. So I will kind of on the periphery keep track of the USC Lady Trojans going into the tournament. Now, look, I'm not going to be like you. I'm not going to fill out a women's bracket. I'm not going to do watch parties for round number 1 and call in sick. But again, I will monitor it on this internet thing that Al Gore invented. Okay, I'll give you that, Whitlock Stradamus.
Let me throw you a layup. Let me throw you a layup. We'll change up to a topic you're more familiar with. And all I saw is the highlights from this. What the hell happened? Was there a crime that occurred in this Lamont Roach, Tank Davis deal? Tank Davis clear as day, took a knee, went and gathered himself, and then came back and they let him fight like nothing happened. What happened here?
All right, so round number 9 in a fight that was supposed to be very lopsided for Tank Davis over Lamont Roach. And there's a couple of relatively light punches that hit Tank. Tank claims that he had some hair grease from his braids, and his hairstylist has refuted this, says he got into his eye. But it was like a split second or two after the last right hand, and he took a knee. Well, I hate to tell people this, that punch wasn't exactly Julian Jackson level, but that is a knockdown, because if that was a left hook to the body, and if he would have stepped back and 3 seconds later taken a knee, everyone would have said this phrase, delayed reaction. So that's only one part of this, Jason. Then he scurries over to his corner, and he goes between the ropes, sticks his head out, and then they assist him by wiping his face off with the towel. By rule, by definition of the Marquis of Queensberry rules, that should be a disqualification. First of all, there's no timeouts in boxing unless it is called by the referee or the commission. Number 2, that is a knockdown. Number 3, you're not allowed to get corner assistance in that manner. Here's the bad part. That's really bad. Steve Willis, the referee, actually began the count. He went up to 2, and then suddenly, it's almost as he said, oh, I can't do this. This is not good. Tank is the house fighter. He is the A-side. And suddenly the knockdown became expunged. I learned this long time ago, Whitlock. Fighters fight for today. Referee and judges fight for tomorrow. Okay? And if you canvass the opinion of many people that watched this fight, either that were there or watched it on television, the large majority believe that Lamont Roach won that fight, even without the knockdown being called.
Oh, wow. So this was highway robbery all around.
Highway robbery. Okay, Jason, is it at the level of Pernell Whitaker, what happened to him in San Antonio in 1993? I don't think so. I thought that's the most egregious big fight robbery I ever saw. For about 5 days, I was done with boxing. I said, I'm done. I'm out. I can't do it. Thankfully, for all boxing fans, I came to my senses. I'll never forget what changed my mind. That Wednesday, after that Friday, I opened up the mailbox, and Sports Illustrated had a picture of that fight, and the headline just said, robbed. And I said, okay, as long as everyone understands what happened, we can move forward. Then another one. Felix Sturm absolutely was victimized in a quote-unquote business decision against Oscar De La Hoya in 2004 because they had the Hopkins-De La Hoya fight awaiting him. So put it in the context of just purely the decision, I don't believe it's the worst, but in the context of everything that went into it in the 9th round, and the way some of those early rounds were scored, and the fact that in the 12th round that Roach needed to win it on 2 of the 3 judges' cards to get a draw, the full picture is, it's pretty bad. I don't know if it's the worst I've ever seen, but it has left a sour taste in the mouth of a lot of fans.
Can I take you down memory lane? This fight probably happened after you were born a year or 2 into your life, so you've only seen this on tape. I actually somewhat remember this fight and the conversation. Muhammad Ali versus Ken Norton.
That's the third one. Okay, so Jason, I was about 5 or 6. That was in 1977. That was at Yankee Stadium.
No.
Bob Arum.
No, I think it was 1973.
No, 73.
The first Norton-Ali fight.
Jason, we got to stay in our lanes. You are the Billy Packer of women's basketball. I'm the Korean Cosell of boxing. I'm just telling you, Ali Frazier won March 8th, 1973. Norton, who may have beaten Ali all 3 times, their last fight was in 77. And the third one, I agree with you. From what I have seen, and I've watched that fight numerous times, one of the worst decisions I have ever seen. I'm an Ali apologist. I believe that was 10-5 in rounds. for Ken Norton. Bob Arum calls it the worst promotion he's ever been involved in. The New York City police were on strike. Riots were breaking out everywhere. It was the worst of 70s New York, but Jason, I promise you, that fight was in like 77.
The one you're talking about is 1976 at Yankee Stadium.
Okay. Yeah, the third one.
Yeah.
He fought 3 times.
Yeah, but okay, the first one in 73 I thought was the one that was the most criminal.
No,
or
that was the one. Ken Norton broke his jaw.
Go.
And I believe that was in San Diego or the Forum. It was in Southern California. And there's a great story where in the locker room, a lot of the Ollie handlers and his entourage, they were complaining about the decision. You were robbed. And Ollie, to his credit, said, everyone shut up. The man won tonight. I got beat. Let's do the rematch. Now, the rematch was close either way. That one, I think Ollie might have snuck out. But, Jason, Ollie Norton 3, in my view, is another horrendous big fight decision.
Okay, I got it. Obviously, you're right, and I'm wrong, because Norton actually won the first fight.
Yes,
I
he
was
did.
sitting here, my memory was screwed up, thinking he broke his jaw but lost the fight. But he actually won the first fight, and it was the third one that, and you're right, it was in San Diego. No, Norton is from San Diego. Where was this fight at? Might
have been at the Forum in LA.
Oh, it was in San Diego. No, it was in San Diego.
Yeah,
Holy cow,
and I think the
he
rematch
fought in San Diego. Yeah.
So, look, this is nothing new. It won't be the first. It won't be the last. Well, my understanding is, just going by some of the things going off on Twitter, there seems to be public pressure on Tank, who got his first blemish. That's his draw. He's 30-0-1 now, 28 knockouts, to do the rematch. Now, Saturday at the post-fight press conference, he intimated that the rematch would eventually happen, but not immediately. Come Monday morning, maybe he's feeling the heat of the public pressure. Seems to me like he is now leaning towards facing Lamont Roach once again, sometime late spring, early summer.
Is Lamont Roach, is he any good? Was this a fluke? If Tank takes it more seriously, does he handle him easily?
Let me state for the record what I said at this point last week on the 3 knockdown rule. Me and Mario Lopez were talking about it. I did not think Tank was going to lose the fight. I didn't know how serious of a threat Lamont Roach was, but I did say this. Lamont Roach is a technically sound, proficient, well-schooled boxer. I did not think he was a terrible fighter. I think he got a bum rap for that. I think a lot of that was over the top. However, I did say the reason why he was chosen, Jason, was 2 things. Number one, he's really a natural junior lightweight, and he's actually a belt holder at 130 who's being moved up in weight. Number 2, in 27 professional bouts coming into last Saturday, he only had 10 knockouts. So he was not what you'd call a heavy-handed fighter. But, Jason, if you watch this fight, you will see a guy that's very slick, who's very confident. And this is the dynamic I think all of us did not take enough account into. Tank is from the D.C., Baltimore area, as is Lamont Roach. They have sparred together. They've had amateur bouts together. And when I spoke to Lamont, when there were rumors about this bout, sometime in late November, he told me flat out, he goes, Steve, I know this guy. He does not intimidate me. I've been in the ring with him. I know him pretty well. So he had some inside info into this. And if you watched round number 1, even though Lamont is the lighter hitter of the 2, he stepped right to the middle of the ring and controlled the center of the ring. And I thought backed up Tank for the first round or 2. I expected Tank's strength and power to take over late, Jason. That did not happen. In fact, it was Lamont who gained more confidence and was more emboldened to let his hands go in the late rounds. I thought he had some of his best moments in 10, 11, and 12.
Interesting fight, interesting analysis. Steve, I got a couple more. Before I get there, I want to talk to you guys about a way you can win $100 in free Bitcoin from the Fold app. Every Friday, we play Listen or Lose. You watch the show all week, answer some trivia questions about the show. You have a chance to win $100 in Bitcoin from the Fold app. Go to foldapp.com/Whitlock, foldapp.com/Whitlock. Download the app. I've got the app on my phone, acquiring Bitcoin through the Fold app. And then email me and Butter at LOLonFearless, LOLonFearless@gmail.com. Let us know you want to play the game. We'll hook you up. Friday, you'll play List or Lose with us. We'll try to put $100 in Bitcoin in someone. We will. We won't try. We'll put $100 in Bitcoin in someone's pocket for playing Listen or Lose. Steve, I want to play you a clip of Riley Gaines. You guys know Riley. She's the swimmer who's turned into an activist for women's sports and for keeping men and boys out of women's sports. Let's play SOT number 5. This is Riley Gaines praying at a NASCAR event this weekend, and she mentions Donald Trump. I think the crowd seems to like it, but of course social media had a different take. Let's play the clip.
Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome 12-time NCAA All-American swimmer and host of Outkick's Gains for Girls podcast, Riley Gaines.
Please stand, remove your hat, and bow your head with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather today with gratitude for your mercy that we do not deserve and the sacrifice of your Son who was sent into earth to conquer death, hell, and the grave. We thank you for this day and the unity that brings us together as we prepare for the start of this race. Lord, we ask for your protection for all drivers, staff, families, and fans alike. Grant each driver wisdom and safety at every turn. Heavenly Father, bless President Donald J. Trump, his cabinet, and all of our leaders that they may seek your guidance in all decisions. If this is done, we will never be wrong and America will be made great again. Instill in us humility and grace so that others will see you in our daily lives. May today and every day lead us to the ultimate finish line, meeting you at the pearly gates. We surrender the activities of this day and of our lives into your mighty hands. God bless America. God bless the great state of Texas. In your name we pray. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem.
Steve, did she unnecessarily or inappropriately drag politics into a NASCAR event?
Whether she did or not, I just want to say, Riley, you are a true American and God bless you. And those fine people out there. Here's the reality of it. Maybe 3-4 years ago, she would not have had the guts or the license to do that. But we are now in 2024 and now 2025. And there seems to be an increased patriotism in our country. And I get it. There are people that are just going to hate Trump no matter what. You know what, folks? Get over it. We had to live through this last regime and it was, I believe, the worst presidential reign I have been through. And look, I was a kid, and I remember how depressing it was with Jimmy Carter, okay? The gas lines and the malaise everyone talked about. And she is symbolic of one thing. It is okay to love America, to be patriotic, and to actually support Donald Trump. And for those who are not, that is absolutely your choice. And guess what? You had every right and license to be that way, I would say probably since Trump first got elected and took office in 2017. So this freedom of speech and quote unquote using your platform, Jason, it goes both ways, or it should.
Yeah, I certainly have no problem with her because I can sit here and authentically say that when I prayed during the Biden administration, I prayed for Joe Biden and his administration. You know, I wanted the demons removed from them, and I would pray about that. And I say that in all seriousness. And I wanted, you know, God to guide them against abortion and some of these other things. And so I think there are many people who mention the president in prayer. And again, obviously she's a Trump supporter. There's no question about it. But I guarantee you Riley Gaines would say, hey, that she has prayed for Joe Biden, no different than me and no different than, you know, a lot of people. We should pray for our leaders.
Well, Jason, then we all have something in common. I prayed Joe Biden would only get 1 4-year term. So I guess we all kind of prayed for Joe Biden in different ways. Look, I am so sick and tired of people saying, I had to vote for my interest. Guess what? We had to vote for ours, and that's America. I actually do not mind people that have diametrically opposing 180-degree different views of culture and the world and politics. What I do resent is the fact that you don't think that I have the right to disagree or that I have to agree with you, and they give you this big guilt trip, because that's really what this most recent presidential election was. I've described it as the national guilt trip. Whether we have to put the first female leader in, we have to put another female black leader in, and all this other stuff. But I said, well, wait a minute. What about the interest of America? Because no matter what they're trying to tell you, the mainstream media, Donald Trump is doing exactly what his administration said they were going to do. And the minute I will get worried is when the Rachel Maddows and the Joy Reids and the View, when they stop kvetching and bitching and moaning about Trump, that's when I'm going to question him. Because when I love these tweets. Did you vote for this? Like trying to put a guilt trip. And I'm like, yeah, I think we mostly did. I'm not going to agree with everything Donald Trump does. But in terms of the overall scope and the spectrum of what he's trying to do, yeah, I actually think he is living up to his end of the bargain thus far.
Yeah, I certainly do. And listen, if Riley Gaines, I could see a scenario that if Biden were in office and she got invited to give a prayer before a sporting event, I could see her praying for Joe Biden and his administration. Now, it would be maybe for a different set of reasons, hoping the scales come off their eyes and they actually do policies that support our Constitution and support a biblical worldview. But I'm just saying, true believers actually do pray for the leaders that they disagree with. And so, you know, I don't think this is unfair. I don't think it was inappropriate. It's not like she said, hey, I hope that Trump passes this, help him pass this or that bill. She just said, hey, guide those guys and President Trump and the people in his administration.
Jason, let me just put it to you this way. If this was somebody else, let's say the opposite version politically and culturally of Riley Gaines at a sporting event, and she would have said some sort of anti-American rhetoric and war Palestine, we're with them. The same people that have a problem with Riley Gaines, quote unquote, bringing politics into this would be supporting her. And that's the phoniest thing people say on Twitter. Well, Steve, I didn't come here for your politics, or I don't like your politics, right? And I always say one thing, well, I probably don't like yours. The only difference is I choose not to follow you. See, when people start to wag the finger and say, okay, can you keep it to sports? If you say stuff politically they agree with, they would never have a complaint about you, quote unquote, bringing politics into it. People have to grow up and mature and understand not everybody is going to agree with you.
Steve, finally, Donald Trump put out a statement about Pete Rose. Let me read the statement. Major League Baseball didn't have the courage or decency to put the late, great Pete Rose, also known as Charlie Hustle, into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now he is dead, will never experience the thrill of being selected, even though he was a far better player than most of those who made it and can only be named posthumously. What a shame. Anyway, over the next few weeks, I will be signing a complete pardon of Pete Rose, who shouldn't have been gambling on baseball, but only bet on his team winning. He never bet against himself or the other team. He had the most hits by far in baseball history and won more games than anyone in sports history. Baseball, which is dying all over the place, should get off its fat, lazy A and elect Pete Rose, even though far too late, into the Baseball Hall of Fame. These posthumous inductions and celebrations have never meant much to me. But what do you think about Trump here on Pete Rose? Necessary, unnecessary? Does Pete Rose care at this point? I don't think he does. Maybe his family does. I don't know.
Well, a couple things. I think it's posthumous. Okay, that's right up there with testosterone.
Posthumous,
yeah. So my view is this.
Butter needed to be here for that. Posthumous.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
I believe President Trump has more important things to care about than a ball player not making the Hall of Fame. Okay, but with that said, I kind of agree with him in a sense that, in my view, Charlie Hustle has always been a Hall of Famer. I did not understand after a certain point in time where the commissioner or Major League Baseball would at least bend and say, look, Pete Rose still cannot come in the dugout. He cannot have an official capacity in the game, but he has served, let's say after 20 years, we're going to give him his ceremony. He's going to go to Cooperstown. I think it is silly, and this goes to like guys that were caught up in the steroid era. In my view, is it really a complete, honest Hall of Fame without the likes of Barry Bonds, A-Rod, okay? Who else? There's several other guys I'm thinking.
Roger Clemens.
Roger Clemens, the best right-hander of my lifetime, right? Let's just let the people decide how legitimate it was, because if you really believe that those guys were the only ones that use steroids and nobody who has been inducted the last, let's say 15 years, dabbled, you're being incredibly naive. And by the way, here's an uncomfortable truth. The home run race of 98 actually saved baseball from the doldrums of 94. They loved it. But going back to Pete Rose, Jason, if you look at his numbers, hits, total bases, runs, durability. The guy made All-Star game at 5 different positions. It's not a Hall of Fame that is complete without him. And I know there's another aspect of Rose. If you saw the recent HBO documentary that came out this summer, I thought it was fair. There were some uncomfortable moments. But the last I checked, as you noted last week, this is not about a citizenship. This is not the Lady Bing Trophy. I would have put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame 10 to 15 years ago and would have been happy with, okay, but you still can't get a job in Major League Baseball officially. To me, that would have been a fair compromise.
Well, and particularly where we are right now with gambling, they do look a little foolish, but I don't think Pete cares. Maybe his family does care. I don't know. But to me, I don't care. They made the decision. And anyway, if that's my biggest beef with Trump, it's been a great first 30 days of his administration or how many ever days it's been. Steve, thank you. Great job. We salute you here. We'll see you tomorrow, or we'll play tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came in like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, all deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom. I wanna be. I just want. I wanna be. I just want. I wanna be. I just want.